Welcome to Type C Tech Reviews. Today I'm going to be doing a review of the LG 27UL500-W. I'm going to go over the pros and the cons and my own real life experience that I've had with this monitor. And if at any point during the video you want to check out this exact same monitor, there's Amazon links below for the US, UK, Canada, and international links. I do got you guys, but let's jump into the review. Alright, now this is a 27-inch 3840 by 2160 aka 4K monitor. All of that inside of this awesome IPS panel, which means it's gonna be prioritizing color accuracy and viewing angles. All right, now the PPI or pixels per inch is about 163, which is extremely good. This is basically gonna determine how crisp or clear text is gonna be, how crisp and clear videos, images, anything basically on your screen. This one is very high at 163. So if you're a photo or video editor or just someone that really reads a lot of text all day long, maybe you do a lot of productivity, this is gonna be huge for you. Now, being more of a productivity focused monitor, this thing hits a max refresh rate of 60 Hertz, which is not at all a problem. That's pretty typical. However, this thing games extremely well and it has FreeSync built into it. So yeah, I wasn't expecting it to game very well. This is obviously not a gaming monitor, it's more of a productivity monitor, but you can definitely do some pretty awesome gaming with this. All right, brightness is pretty good, hitting 300 nits of brightness. Now, this is not gonna be blinding bright. This is not gonna be insanely bright. 300 nits is a pretty good middle ground. My personal preference would be about 350 nits, so I would like to see a little bit more brightness, but unless you're in a very bright room, it's not gonna make that big of a difference. Reflections are not crazy. The matte finish does a good job with keeping away reflections. However, if you're in a very bright room or if you have windows right behind your monitor, that might be an issue for you. However, in most cases, if you pull those curtains, you should be okay. All right, now one of the biggest things with this monitor is the colors. Let's talk about it. This hits 98% of the sRGB color space, which is great. But beyond that, something that I didn't expect, because again, this is a 4K monitor under $300, so very budget friendly. This thing actually can output 10 bits of color, which I was not expecting. I was expecting a max of 8 bits, but yeah, this thing outputs 10 bits of color using 8-bit panel, a natively 8-bit panel, plus frame rate control or FRC to then output 10 bits of color, which is very, very cool. Now, beyond that, continuing on with that, huge reason you might want to get this monitor if you're a photo or video editor. From the factory, this comes pre-calibrated from LG, so you're gonna have much better out-of-the-box color accuracy, whereas a lot of companies, when they ship out a monitor, let's say you buy two of them are gonna have two different colors because they're just not calibrated, whereas LG actually calibrates them. And in my experience with LG monitors, which I've used a ton of LG monitors, they do quite a good job with calibration, so it's a huge reason you might wanna get this over the competition. Now, for those people that are really into productivity, this has picture-in-picture and picture-by-picture. This is basically where you can use different ports to then output different literal sections of the screen, which is very cool. And it's a totally legitimate thing with a 4K monitor, which this is. Now, you can adjust those. You can change where it is, how many sections are divided on the screen through LG's app, which is called on-screen control. And basically that allows you to not only change settings of the monitor, but also to change the picture-in-picture and picture-by settings without going through the menu system, because it's actually controlled through your computer on an application. That makes it so much quicker to change settings, as well as the picture-in-picture and picture-by-picture. So that is a really cool thing. Now, contrast ratio is pretty typical for an IPS panel at 1000:1. That is the trade-off you kind of make for an IPS panel over something like a VA panel. However, let's talk about backlight bleed. Testing for backlight bleed and IPS glow, there was pretty much no apparent backlight bleed at all. LG does a really good job with their quality control. It is definitely the best in the monitor industry. That being said, others could have backlight bleed, but I doubt it. All of the monitors that I've gotten from LG have never had backlight bleed, whereas some companies like, I think Pixio had one monitor that was pretty terrible with backlight bleed, although it wasn't their gaming oriented monitor. All right, I'm gonna quickly go over ghosting and response time. This is only for the kind of gaming portion. Most of you guys won't be using it for this. However, if you are, listen up. This hits 5 milliseconds gray to gray, and the ghosting is very good, especially for this productivity oriented monitor. There's basically no ghosting. The best setting to set it in is fast, and you can absolutely 100% game on this thing in 4K at 60 Hertz. Whether you're on a console or anything else, it actually is really good for it. And screen tearing, because of FreeSync and just the panel itself, is pretty much non-existent. There is basically no screen tearing, which is kind of crazy to me. I wasn't expecting that. So yes, you can absolutely game on this thing. If you're a light gamer, after you photo or video edit or do a bunch of productivity work, you can absolutely use this thing for gaming. All right, now the menu system and controls. Obviously, Obviously, this is an LG. You've heard me say it a million times. They have the best menu system in the industry. This thing is awesome. It's controlled with one joystick at the bottom chin of the monitor. There is no learning curve. Everything is easy to get to. Everything is pretty, and the controls are fast and responsive. Now, again, if you don't want to use the menu system, you can use that on-screen control app, which is incredibly useful. So yeah, full pass, A+ with controls. As far as Vesa compatibility, this is compatible with 100mm by 100mm Vesa mounts, and you absolutely should get a monitor arm with this. We're going to talk about this later when we talk about the stand and build quality. All right, ports, let's talk about it. This has two HDMI 2.0s, one display port 1.2, and a 3.5mm audio out. Now, if you are going to do some console gaming, this will have enough bandwidth through HDMI 2.0 to do 4K at 60 Hz. You can absolutely do that. I have tested this with my Xbox Series X. Now, yes, this is not a ton of ports, but again, remember, under $300, 27-inch and 4K, that's all in the same sentence. Yeah. All right, stand and build quality. This is where they kind of cut their costs a little bit. Now, the actual stand is pretty good quality. However, there is no height adjustability, there's no swivel, there's no rotation, there is tilt. It's kind of iffy tilt, but it definitely works and does the job. However, I would absolutely recommend a monitor arm with this monitor just because you don't have very much customizability with everything. All of the monitor arm I recommend below that I've actually tested with this exact monitor, it is under 50 bucks and it works perfectly. You have forward and back, height, tilt, swivel, rotation 90 degrees, anything you want, and that's under 50 bucks. But yeah, beyond that, the bezels aren't super thick, but they're definitely thicker than some out there. They are kind of plasticky, which I don't like, but they are black, so when you're actually using the monitor, they kind of fade away. But again, remember, this is kind of the part that they cheap out on, which I am totally okay with. The back of the monitor is pretty typical across all of their lines, even the higher end one. It's just the front that kind of gets a price cut, which is an interesting move. I don't know why they did that, but they did it, and I'm fine with it. But overall, if you want a high resolution 4K 27-inch monitor that is color accurate and can game on a budget that's under $300, I would absolutely recommend this. I think this is the best 4K 27-inch monitor under 300 bucks. Again, if you want to check out this exact same monitor, there's Amazon links below for the US, UK, Canada, and international links. I do got you guys. But yeah, one of the craziest things that I'm not trying to focus on too much is the gaming performance, because I know most of you guys aren't probably going to be using this for gaming. I'm assuming there might be just a mass amount of console players that are. However, this thing gamed like really weirdly good. Obviously it's 60 Hertz, so it's not like gaming on a high refresh rate panel, but gaming in the high resolution of 4K is pretty awesome in itself. Yeah, I mean, there was like no screen tearing, which I honestly was expecting 100%. But if you guys enjoyed this video and it helped you out, help me out and throw a like below. And if you want to see the unboxing and first initial impressions of this monitor, I did a video and that will be right here. But yeah, this was Type C Tech Reviews, and I'll see you guys in the next video.